And here we have it. So in today's video, we will be going over the entire process of what it took to make this thing whole. This is the WWE Shoprine big gold strap. This is just a send out strap, unfortunately. The buyer just wanted the leather. So I wasn't able to put the plates and stuff on it, so we can't really get like a full finished look of this, but we can at least go through the entire process of what it took us to get here. And of course, what, the craziness that was this strap, and of course, the just the insides out. So what I'm gonna do is just jump over to a couple of time lapses real fast to show you guys the process, and then of course we will be back to give you more of an in-depth overview of the final product. So enjoy. All right. So we have everything marked, all the holes and stuff for the plates, all the snaps and stuff are ready to go. So right now we're just going to go ahead and cut this out, get the trench, I guess. I don't really know what to call it. Basically where the thread will go for the stitching around the entire outside of this championship. And we'll also go ahead and get it oiled, get that ready and set up. Yeah, so then we'll just jump to that. Alright, so now everything is done. You've seen the time lapse of me trimming the leather out, doing the little groove here that will have the stitching. Everything will just kind of fit in like this, boom, hit those. Basically it gives me a straight line to work with whenever we do the stitching. So got all that stuff marked out. I wasn't going to do these holes just yet, this being a crumb rind style. I was going to wait until the backing was on, then punch these holes, but I figured what I would do is attach the backing, go again, and then cut the holes, just so that way I'm not having to punch through two pretty thick layers of leather. This will also help keep my holes a little straighter too, because now that these are here, the hole punch will just set right down into it, so that way the holes will be a little bit more truer. And there's a little less room for wiggle. Again, I'll put the old replica strap on it, just to give a idea and to make sure that all my holes and stuff have still aligned. But you also saw me do the first pass of oil, and basically that is just to keep the leather hydrated during the entire process. Of course, me touching it doesn't really help, but that's just part of it. We got some better lighting in here. It's not quite the way that I want it to be, but it's a little better now. And of course we have the section here that I can put my camera into. I will go ahead and show you guys the replica strap, because I know that we didn't really do a whole lot of that with the Big Eagle last time. But you can definitely just tell that like these straps are they're just trash. Obviously, for display reasons, you don't have to get your championship re-leathered, but man, if you do, it's just awesome. I mean, you just go from this cardboard that's literal cardboard. There's been countless amounts of videos that have cut these straps open. It's cardboard, paper, and this like pleather stuff that's on here. It's weird because it gives the like notion that it's leather, because that definitely looks like leather in there. That blue color, it's like a gray, like a blue gray, but it is not. Tons of these straps have been cut open, and that has been debunked pretty much every time. There is zero actual leather in these. simulated leather straps, which, you know, it is what it is. It's cheap and it helps, you know, produce a $400 or $500 belt without a whole lot of extra cost, just to maximize profit. But I mean, you definitely get what you pay for. Now this has been folded, so this strap here, or this section here, is a little looser, as is this one. The way that I have this stored is kind of the way that Ric Flair used to carry his. It just kind of makes these a little easier to store because they're shorter. I would like to end up getting some sort of setup to where I can lay these out flat to store them, just so that way they keep their shape. But until then, we have them folded up like this. I got a couple other. I got the Big Eagle and also a Winged Eagle. The new current Winged Eagle, both gold and dual plated versions are available. But yeah, so first pass of oil has been done to this leather strap. I'm waiting on the backing to arrive. We had a couple of a little situation with the leather company that I order from. The backing that I ordered was a very nice brown. It was a very nice, like, dark brown, which I can kind of show you guys my tests here. So this is the golden brown with the mahogany over the top of it, and I think that that's actually the route that we're going to go with this, because this is the mahogany with the golden brown over top of it, and it's just a little too red. So I definitely think that I'm going to lay the base of the golden brown and then just go over the or my bad, I apologize, it's the dark brown that this is, not the golden brown. The golden brown is actually more of a yellow. It looks more like this. So this I just felt was a little too light. So we're definitely going to go with the dark brown with the mahogany overpass. I'm going to be spraying everything with an airbrush because I want this to be like a very even coating of dye. I don't want there to be like really dark spots in some areas and really light spots in other areas. Also too, while I'm thinking about it, the snaps also were not punched. I will be going over this with another oil pass here in just a few minutes. I won't film that obviously because it's the same thing I just did. But I want to put the backing on for these because I'll be punching these by hand with the hole punch plier things. These I do on a board with a, or like a cutting board, over in a different area because I have to give them a little bit more force to, you know, persuade them to cut. But the snaps I usually do by hand because they're usually close enough to the edge that I can just put the pliers on there and snap them. So I will wait for those, or for the backing to be put on for that. But this thing's got a really nice looking granulated, or this has got a really nice look to the leather already. It's kind of got like a nice, this is dumb because this is leather, so it's natural, but it has like a very natural look to it. I like that a lot. Like this looks like a crease. There's actually not a crease in the leather, but for some reason it's just got like a natural color. So whenever I put the brown on that, these shades will be a little bit darker. This won't. This is just sponge marks. This will eventually seep to be the same color as the rest of the strap. But the darker natural spots will show through, and that will give the leather a little bit more of a discoloration, and it'll kind of be more natural as opposed to me like sponging it on and then it being unnatural because I'm, you know, I put more dye on this side than I did this side, whatever. But yeah, man, I always catch myself rambling in these videos, but it's just something that, like, I love this. I love this whole process. I love the work. I love everything that kind of goes into these. I stopped doing them for a while just because I didn't really have the space for them. But now that I've sort of upgraded my area down here with a nice big long table to do an entire length belt, as you can tell, as you saw from the down shots, you saw basically the length that I have to work with here, and then I have other sections and stuff. Airbrush is set up, the whole thing, so it's just really nice to be able to sit down here and just spend a lot of time just making sure that all these details are as crisp and as clean as possible. It's something that I'm super passionate about. I have been my whole life, but now being able to really sit down here and do this professionally, it's kind of night and day difference. So I will update you as soon as the other leather has arrived, because I will be dyeing both sets of leather at the same time to try to keep them as uniform as possible. Again, that will be the nice part about having such a wide array or area of space, because then I can just lay them side by side and basically just go big passes over both sections to keep them, again, as uniform as possible. Obviously, there's going to be discrepancies because this is a handmade product, but, you know, we try to keep the continuity as nice as possible. And also another thing, too, is the, we'll do some edge coat with the brown to kind of tie everything in. I think what I might do is do a test on, like, this section here. See if I can't make or add a little bit of black to this to tone this down, because whenever we add dark brown and the red, that's going to tone this down quite a bit. And I think this is one of the ones that I've done. Yes. So this is the golden brown dye. So the golden brown dye fits the edge coat really well. I don't know. Oh, it's over here. Let me grab this real fast. This is the dark brown dye, and I'm pretty sure... Oh, yes. So this is what this looks like with this. You can kind of see a difference a little bit, and especially once I put the red on the brown, there will be a slight difference. I'm hoping adding a little bit, a tiny bit of black edge paint, I'll be able to sort of blend these a little bit better, just so that way it's not like as noticeable, which Rick's was. Pretty much every picture that I can find, there was this like really nice light brown trim all the way across the belt with the nice dark like brown red color. So I don't know, I'm half and half about it, but we're just kind of going with the flow here, and I definitely think I'll do the test. I do like the way that these two go together, but I'll do the test just to go ahead and roll that out, just in case it is an option. And yeah, so again, I've rambled. This is now gone on way longer than it should have. This section of the video is probably as long as the time lapse is, or the time lapse was, as far as like real time goes. But I'm just insanely happy and insanely honored to be able to do stuff like this, and I hope that it shows, and I hope that it translates through the video, these longer sections of video where I just like to talk. I try to trim out as much as possible, but every now and then I give good information and I like to leave it in, but it's kind of coated with all this other nonsense that I just kind of spout. So yeah, we're going to let this one pass of oil kind of sit here for a little bit and level out. It's really leveled out nicely over on this side over here. So we're just kind of waiting on everything else on these sides to do the exact same thing. And then I might go over it with a second pass once we come back down here and start putting the backing together. But for now, this is it. So we'll see you then. And here we are. So I got the backing sprayed. Normally you wouldn't do this. You would do like a black backing or something else, but I needed the backing to match the strap, so I just went ahead and sort of did the same stuff on this that I did with that. Got a little bit of, it's got a little bit of tiger striping in it, which I kind of like. I think I kind of wish that I would have done that a little bit more on the strap, but once the dyes and stuff settle in, it'll be a little different as far as like the color and stuff goes. I went ahead and sprayed the clear on it just to go ahead and get that drying too, so as the dye soaks in and finishes drying, the clear will also do that right behind it. And again, I didn't want this to be super shiny. I kind of just wanted it to have more of like a satin finish. because this is like a very old school style belt, and the chrome run wasn't very shiny either. The chrome run really didn't show any drastic changes in color until they really went mainstream with it on WCW. So we definitely did like a classic dark brown. I just did the dark brown dye. I don't even know. Yeah, dark brown dye for the base, and then the mahogany for the top coat, which the mahogany is more of like a red brown, so it just kind of brings out the the different tones of the leather. Of course, you have like the natural veg tan color, and then you have the dark brown that I put on it. The mahogany brings those colors out, and then of course the sheen really brings out like all of those colors. You can't really see it with that reflection going, but you can kind of see, like, depending on how you look at this thing, it kind of changes colors. It has kind of like a chameleon style color on it. I just think it looks really good. I'm very happy with it. I'm very impressed, and I do think that it's going to look fantastic on the back of that strap to finish things out. So the reason that I have the strap even here is because I just basically used it as like a template of, you know, how brown it needed to be, how red it needed to be, and then you know, just kind of mixing everything together. So I will let this set today, and then tomorrow I will come down once everything has had time to fully cure, and I will go ahead and glue the straps together, and then I'll give that another 24 hours, and then we can come down here and start punching holes, setting snaps, stitching, all that fun stuff. But yeah, I'm just kind of give this leather time to relax, time to really soak in those colors, and yeah, sort of kind of mellow out to match this guy back here. And just a quick shout out, not sponsored or anything, but I do have a quick little shout out here to the iWorks, or Works, I guess. There's not really an I there, but there is this there, and then of course you have the Maker X stuff. This really made this so much easier than doing this. I have an airbrush, a full-time airbrush. It is a Grex, also not sponsored, but it is the same airbrush and compressor that I've been using for the last 10 years. And it's really nice, but the hose is not long enough to extend from this side of my table all the way down to that side of my table. So I decided to put this thing to use. I got this a couple of years ago. It was at Lowe's, and yeah, it made this so much easier. This has got a little bit of heft to it, so you kind of have to get used to that. And of course, it is a top sprayer. Normally the one that I use is a trigger sprayer, so that was kind of weird for me to get used to. But yeah, it's a two-part system. You've got this battery right here, and then of course you do this. There's actually several different tools that you can use for this. It's not just an airbrush. I also have the glue gun attachment, the Dremel attachment, and I think one more, but I don't know. Again, I've had this stuff for years, and I've just never really used it. The Dremel has been really the only thing that I've used, and it works fantastic. It actually works just as well as my Dremel branded Dremel. So, you know, take that with, you know, however you will. But this thing has been tremendous as far as doing this, because I can hold this in one hand and kind of control the cord, because the cord does have a little bit of length on it. But yeah, so I mean, it's really nice. I'm super impressed with it. It made everything super portable, and then just, you know, again, just making this long strip, because this belt is pretty long, and of course the backing has to be a little longer because it has to cover over the edges to make sure that, you know, the entire backing's covered. So shouts out to the Maker X stuff. It definitely helped out as far as just making things a little bit more portable, a little bit easier. And I'm definitely going to go ahead and start using the other stuff a lot more, because again, it just made everything so much easier. Again, not sponsored. That was just something that I wanted to go ahead and just explain, because you'll see in the video, well, you might, because it's a time lapse, but you'll see in the video that like the first airbrush that I'm using is like a bright green, and then this one of course is like this with the big compressor on the bottom. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Again, 24 hours for this to set, cure, kind of flesh out, do its thing, and then we will be back tomorrow Alright, so hopefully you enjoyed that little time lapse, that little kind of an in-depth, I don't know, process of what it takes to make this strap happen. I was going to actually time lapse the stitching, however the stitching took me about 6.5, 7 hours because it was all hand stitched. This was not machine stitched. Let's see if we can get a nice little zoom in here. Yeah, you can kind of see just the process. I'm hoping that eventually, maybe in the future, a leather sewing machine will be in my future. Just because this was an absolute pain. But man, the overall, this result of everything is just, I'm so happy with it. I'm the most happy with it. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to unsnap this because I already went ahead and did the snap test. And as you guys can see, everything is snapped nice and neatly together on both sides. And yeah. Oh, and a small thing real fast. The seller wanted gold or silver snaps. Sorry. So I know the crumb rind had gold, but the seller specifically, or the buyer rather, specifically wanted silver. So that's what we went with. So we went with silver snaps, but everything else pretty similar to the original. I kind of mixed the. Well, let's just unsnap this, and then I'll show you, or I'll talk to you about the process. Okay, so now that we're unsnapped, we can kind of get a better general view of the entire process, or the entire product, I guess, belt, strap, whatever you want to call it. So again, I kind of went with a mix of the original and the replica strap. The replica strap was nice, which I actually have right here. So that way you guys can kind of see like a comparison to, or between the straps. So the replica strap has a nice color to it. It's very messy, which I don't really care for, but I do like the fact that they attempted to mix some colors together, so that's what I did in this process. The dye for the original crumb rind was like a Cordovan color, which is like a very dark brown, reddish brownish color. I don't really know what I would even call this. This literally looks like they just dyed it brown and then took a sponge and just kind of went everywhere, which I know that these are machine processed, so like there wasn't somebody who just sat here with a sponge, but you kind of get what I'm saying. It's really messy, and I don't really understand it. Again, gold snaps, seller wanted silver, so we went silver. Me personally, silver stands out better, and once you get the dual plated crumb rind, that's going to make this thing look crazy. If I can, quick disclaimer, if I can, I'll see if the buyer, I keep wanting to say seller, if the buyer will send me pictures of the final product, I'll kind of put them up somewhere in here. We'll see how that goes, because this definitely needs to get put up and edited before the end of the month as my project for September. Also, another quick disclaimer, the project was going to be a lyre. However, Distortions has taken lyres off of their website for now. So you guys are getting another belt re-leather. Sorry that it's kind of a repeat video for the month, but anyway, I figured let's do it crazy. You know, this doesn't have a lot of tooling, but the stitching and stuff is a whole lot more involved. So yeah, we'll just keep jumping right into it. The stitching on the replica strap is awful. I don't know, I'm assuming that these things were probably stitched together and then painted. If I had to guess, which is the reasoning in the dull, like brown gold string or thread, whatever you want to call it. So I don't know if that was the process or what it was, or if that was the choice. The original crumb rind had bright white like thread on it, which is one of the reasons why we went with this. So I don't know. I mean, you have to take into consideration that these are mass produced, so the quality is just not going to be there. It doesn't matter who's making them. If you're making thousands, you know, in days or weeks or whatever, the quality is just not going to be there, because they just want to stamp these things out, you know, put them on some PVC fake leather junk, and then sell them for, you know, $400 or $500, just to mass produce, get the market out there, whatever. Basically, just capitalize on people who are willing to shell out quite a bit of money for subpar product. But you know, I mean, that's capitalism. That's a different chat for a different day. But for now, we're just kind of going through everything. The backing, I haven't really paid that much attention to after I knock a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, so like the backing doesn't even match the front color. The patch actually matches the front color better. So again, I don't know, that was a really weird choice. for them. I don't know if, you know, they just didn't really care to match it up or whatever. And then, of course, they went with they have these black, or almost like gunmetal studs for the snaps, which is kind of crazy because I don't know if that's like a specialty item or how they get those, but yeah, so like the studs on this side are black, or the gunmetal, and then of course the caps, or the lock for the caps, is also a gunmetal color. So I don't know, that was weird. That's super weird. I don't understand the like 50-50 whatever, but anyway, that's enough of this strap. And back to what we are here for, which is the new leather strap. Also, don't know if this is going to focus in, but you can kind of see we got some nice sealed edges. Yeah, there we go. Nice sealed edges. I actually went with a mix of brown and black edge coat. I just mixed the two together because they're pretty much the same kind of paint stuff. So that was what I went with there, just to kind of blend these edges in a little better. And it also kind of gives the edges a little bit of detail because, again, the strap is very plain. It's Crumrine. When they put this strap together, they were not belt makers. So it was just two like thinner pieces of leather just glued and dyed and stitched together. And so, you know, it's pretty plain. I mean, other than the bright white stitching, it was just a strap to put the fantastic looking plates on, and that was pretty much it. You know, it wasn't the strap wasn't supposed to be its own piece. The strap was just basically made to hold the plates, because the plates, you know, obviously were made by jewelers, so they were top of the line. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the Crumrine is one of the top 10, probably top 5 for most people, best belts of all time. So, you know, you kind of just get what you get. You get really top tier plates, you know, 12 out of 10, and then the strap's kind of subpar because that's, you know, that's not what you're there for. But you have the matching silver locks for these caps. Again, I'm not really sure why WWE goes with double. I don't know if maybe it's like a cheaper option. But on the backs of both of these is the silver on silver. These studs are showing because that was the way that it was on the original Crumrine, so that was the way that I was going to do this re-leather, because I wanted everything to be as close to the original as possible, minus just a couple of things like the silver snaps, you know, whatever. But the backing, we'll flip this over, whoa, is the same color. But no, in all seriousness, normally I buy my backing, I think I have it here. This is the normal backing that I use for belts. The standard black backing, I guess, would be the better way to describe that. It's a very thin, like 0.8 millimeter thickness. It's just like pebble grain, and then of course it is real genuine leather. It's not vinyl. We don't do vinyl here. I know a lot of people will because it's the cheaper route, but we do not do that here. So on this one, it was a little different because there wasn't a good option. I actually bought 2 different backings, and neither one of them matched the color that I wanted. And I kind of thought that that was going to be the process, or, you know, what was going to happen. But, you know, I was already kind of there, so I just went ahead and, you know, picked them. And then, because I bought 3 different shades of dye for this belt, 3 different browns, because I wanted everything to be spot on to what I had in my brain, you know. So like I had this image in my brain of what this strap was going to look like, and it wasn't going to be, I just wasn't going to let anything sort of hinder that. I wasn't going to basically go all out on the main strap and then do like a subpar backing that sort of matched but like didn't really match or whatever. So I just went ahead and bought a very thin veg tan leather, dyed it myself, and basically just had this up, which you've seen in the time lapse. I had the main strap up and was just using it as sort of a guide to the colors. Originally, whenever I dyed this, you could definitely see some tiger striping quite a bit. You can still kind of see pieces of it. In person, it's almost completely gone. This is actually a crease in the leather. That's one of the reasons why it's so dark. Creases in leather hold more dye and hold it at a darker shade, so that's, you know, there's not really anything you can do about it. This is literally cow skin. But yeah, I just wanted this to be as close to the front strap as possible, because I just wanted the whole thing to be as seamless as possible, because once the plates are on it, you know, and if it's a display piece, you're only going to see the front, but like there is that instance where it's not just a display piece, and it is something that you take to shows or you take to conventions and things like that, and people are going to see basically 360 degrees of it. And I just didn't want this to be, you know, I didn't want it to be a facade, you know. I didn't want it to be like, oh, here's the storefront, here's our big giant banner and our big LED sign, and then the back of it be like, oh, well, we don't really sell anything here, we just kind of have the big sign, you know, like that. If that makes any sense, it kind of makes sense in my head, but also I'm 7 hours into hand stitching, and I just, oh man, I'm so incredibly happy with the way that this strap turned out. But man, was it a labor of love, because 7 hours of doing the same thing, going in, going out, going in, going out, going in, going out, going in, having to do this all around, and then coming back and having to do it all the way around again, because then you had to match up all of your little holes. I didn't do a saddle stitch in this because I just, gosh, doing this was already bad. I didn't want to have two separate sets of needles, or a second set of needles rather, and trying to make this happen, because it just, man, it was rough. When I say it was a labor of love, man, I am being 100% honest. But so for flexibility, as I'm kind of just talking and rambling at this point, flexibility is actually pretty good. The backing that I used was just a slight bit thicker than the normal stuff, the black pebble gray that I showed you guys. So I was kind of worried about the floppiness or the flexibility of the strap, but pretty much it's on par or on average of all the other stuff that I did. The Big Eagle was pretty much the exact same way. Once you get plates on this thing, you're pretty much going to be where you need to be as far as, you know, flexibility and stuff goes. These snaps sort of kind of weigh down the leather a little bit. Obviously this is not my belt, so I will not be pushing and creasing anything. We don't do that here. We don't make creases on things we don't own. So even when I package my belts, I like to try and keep them as crease free as possible. And again, I've said it before in the last video, but if you do send me the box that the replica comes in, the big flat box, I will be more than happy to ship it back to you in that box, just to keep from having any unnecessary creases or bends or anything like that in the leather, because this, again, this is just something that I'm so passionate about, and I don't want to send a product that I would not personally use on my own, you know. I mean, that's just how it is. Masks, belts, props, doesn't matter. Whatever it is, I want to know 100% that whatever I send out is going to be something that is cherished and just enjoyed thoroughly, you know. That's just kind of how it goes. So we started this video with you know, the snap test, I guess, which obviously I'm not going to do this one one-handed. The Big Eagle was already bad enough, and this has a lot more snaps than that one did, so we're not going to do that. But you get the idea. I just wanted to put this thing up. The video process was pretty cool. We are doing a different setup here. There's actually going to be more additions to the setup as time goes on. I would like to more professionally intro these videos, and not just be like, hey, here's this thing and this is what we're going to make today. You know what I mean? Like, I would like to personally sort of greet you guys and open the videos a little bit better. But I mean, for the most part, this thing is, I mean, it's so good. You know, I hate patting myself on the back for things that I do, because, you know, millions of other people do these things all over the planet. So I'm not like, you know, I'm not the pioneer of any of this by any means, but man, I just like, oh, it's just so good. It honestly, this is the part that sucks, because I don't want to let this go. You know, like, I don't have any plates for it, but like the strap is just so good that like I would be willing to buy the replica to put the plates on, because like it's just one of those things that I'm just so incredibly happy with, and I really hope that the buyer is too. See, I'm fixing it. Now we're saying the buyer. But yeah, I don't really know if there's anything else to say other than just wow. It's weird whenever I make things and I make myself speechless, you know, because I'm going through the entire process of making this thing, so I'm seeing it like for 2, 3, 4, 5 days, sometimes, 2 or 3 weeks that I'm seeing this thing, and it's just, or seeing the thing that I'm making. And again, it's just one of those things where it's very rare to leave me speechless over something that I've made, or, something that I've put together, but this is one of those times. I just want to sit here and stare at this a little bit. If you're into leather, it has that leather smell, obviously being 100% top grain. And it's just, man, awesome. Even with the 7 hours of stitching, I fall in love with this thing over and over again every single time that I see it. So it is definitely going to be sad to put it in a box later today and ship it out first thing in the morning. But yeah, so anyway, if you enjoyed the video, you can leave a like, you can subscribe, all that crap. If not, then don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. I really enjoy putting these types of things together, and this has not been any exception. This has been one of, if not one, like the most fun things that I've put together this year. The masks and stuff are pretty common, but the belts and stuff are kind of new. It's definitely territory that I've been in, but it's not ever territory that I've been fortunate enough to do very often. So having belts back to back from people who trust me to, put them something to get together that will last, and something that will make their belt, even that much better as far as like display or, whatever. It's crazy. So if you enjoy this, you do all the stuff, comments, I reply to every single comment. Doesn't matter if I have 100, doesn't matter if I have 2. Socials, links to everything, Instagram. I do have a Facebook page now, but it's pretty much the same as Instagram, without the hassle of having to be on Facebook. Also, you're on the YouTube channel, but we do have TikTok, so if you guys want to check us out over there, that'd be cool. It's basically just what I'm going to put at the end of this video. I just do outdoor daytime shots of whatever project that I'm putting on, just so that way you guys can see this in natural lighting and not with like the LED things that we have here. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I love this thing, so I'm gonna keep doing them as often as you guys allow me to do them, as often as you guys pay me to keep doing this stuff. I mean, it's absolutely surreal. But I won't ramble on anymore. This video is already going to be absolutely awful to edit and to render and everything else, so we'll just end it with that, and of course the video of the outdoor daytime shots. So see you in the next one.